In this video, we will cover many different topics. If you are just interested in one topic, then all the questions and timestamps will be in the description box below.
Hi, welcome to Jovie's home. I post new videos on Tuesdays and sometimes Thursdays. Today, I want to just jump right in and answer some of the most frequently asked questions that you guys send me about the Netherlands and about living in the Netherlands. It is not about me. It's not like a personal Q&A, but it is. You guys, I get so many questions sent to my email, my Instagram, like all those things, and I want to help you all, but it gets really repetitive to keep replying the same answers. So I thought I'm gonna make a video. You guys can watch it. I can also link it in like all of my description boxes, and when people ask me the questions, I can send them this video. So win-win, win-win-win, I hope. So if that sounds good to you, then why don't you come on in, kick off your shoes and stay a while. I'm really glad you're here. Before we get into the very first question, let's talk about the Dutch word of the day today. And I thought that the word advice is fitting. So in English, we have advice, and in Dutch, it's kind of similar. It's pronounced a bit differently and spelled, of course, differently. So advice in English is advies in Dutch. So today's video is all about giving you guys some advies from my perspective. So let's hop into it. So the first question that I would like to answer is, can you come to the Netherlands on a student visa and then stay? So this question is kind of like a yes and no. So it's three parts. So let's cover it like this. The first part is, if you are accepted into a Dutch university or a school and you come here to study, then of course you will be able to get a student visa. Presumably, I guess there might be some countries that you can't. This I'm not sure. I'm not an immigration lawyer, so presumably you will come to the Netherlands on a student visa if you are going to a Dutch school. And then I guess the question would be, so then can you stay once you finish your program? Now, in the Netherlands, they do have this kind of search year, or like a year of experience, that once you finish your school, you are allowed to stay for 1 year. So during that 1 year, if you're able to find a job, you can work and everything is legal and it's okay. However, after that year, you either need to find a permanent job that will then sponsor you, sponsor your visa, do the visa, the requirements for you to stay in the Netherlands. Otherwise, you're gonna have to leave and try to come back in a different capacity. How likely is it that you're gonna get this visa? Now, employers typically, it's hard for me to say yes or no, but typically, depending on the type of job that you're doing and how difficult it is to find people who are already here legally in the Netherlands and who already have a legal work status, how many of those people are applying for those jobs, that means that it's less likely that you're gonna be able to stay and that your employer will be willing to go through the administrative and economic burden of actually sponsoring you. On the other hand, if there are very few people who are qualified to do what you're doing, or if you are like a knowledge not migrant, but if you have education and knowledge in a very specific area, then it's likely that maybe you will be sponsored. But I don't want to encourage you to think I'm just gonna come do whatever program here and stay, because it's very, very difficult to actually get that. Next up, you guys asked me what kind of visas are available to come to the Netherlands, and the answer is there's a lot. However, you need to see what actually fits your circumstances. Again, I am not an immigration lawyer. I came here legally, I stay here legally, I am a permanent resident here, but that does not make me an expert in all Dutch immigration. So I will link the Dutch immigration website. There's an English version. You can use Google Translate to help you if you are not using it in English or Dutch, of course. But you need to really look at your circumstances and see if you qualify. And if you do, then apply. But if you don't, there's not really much that somebody like me who makes YouTube videos about the Netherlands can do to help you. I also want to mention that it breaks my heart when you guys send me your messages and you explain to me your life story and your circumstances, and 99.9% of the time they are very emotional and very sad. And while my heart aches to help you and I want to help you, I'm not in a position to do so. I can't. These are things that are bureaucratic and in place, and if you really want to, then I suggest that you contact a Dutch immigration lawyer who would be able to help you, but of course those are high fees that you would have to pay to someone to look into the specifics of your case, to see and to give you the really proper advice, because that's unfortunately not me. As much as I want to, that's not me. Next up, you guys send me questions all the time about me helping to find a job for you. I have made 2 videos already on this channel. They are linked. I will link them, God knows where, which corner it's going to be. It's in one of these 2 corners. I will link it. There are 2 videos that I made, one about kind of finding a job in English in the Netherlands, and one where we did an expert and expat with an HR representative. And so this is kind of the extent of my experience here. If you are really wanting to find a job in the Netherlands, there are many, many, many job agencies out there. You just need to Google them. I worked with Blue Links a couple of times to find some jobs, so I've had good experience with them. But again, there are different ones that specialize in different types of jobs. So just because Blue Links worked for me doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work out for you. And also, I was already here legally with a legal work permit. So if you're applying from abroad and you are thinking oh, maybe I can find a job, for example, let's just say as an administrative assistant in the Netherlands, because that's what you're doing in wherever you live, the chances are slim that you are going to be able to be very competitive in something like that here in the Netherlands, where there are lots and lots of qualified candidates who are also searching for that job. So just keep in mind that just because a job is advertised and you might be a perfect fit, it's going to be difficult because there are already people here who do not need support in getting a visa to come, who will be also applying for those jobs. So it's difficult, and I don't want to make it sound like it's easy. Of course, it's easier to find a job if you're here and it's, you're looking for something, but from abroad, it is really, really competitive and really, really difficult. So, sorry, I cannot help you search for a job. Recruitment agencies definitely will. Next up, can I help you look for an apartment? The answer is no. I'm sorry, I cannot help you look for an apartment. This is not what I do. I make YouTube videos and I do talk about my experience looking for an apartment or finding something. But again, I hired somebody to help us in those searches. I do have a video all about renting in the Netherlands, and I will also link that somewhere here. Please watch that. There I have a guest from Frisia Makelaars. His name is Ronald. He's helped me sell our home. And so I really recommend their agency. They're more localized in the Hague area, but maybe they can recommend someone if you're looking in another spot. But they are a company that you could hire to help you find an apartment. And they are much more experienced with all the expat rules and Dutch rules and making sure that the contract that you're offered is legal and making sure that you can register at the place that you're going to be living in. So these are really the people that you need to contact. Lots and lots of specialized agencies to help you find a place to live. But this is important that you actually hire somebody who is qualified to do that work and not just emailing me and asking me to help you because, I guess I could go and look at an apartment, but there's no guarantee that I'm going to ask the right questions or make sure that the contracts are in place. And that's also a pretty big undertaking that I'm just not ready to do, unfortunately. So Contact an agency if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, and then you're going to be in safe hands. Number 5, is the Netherlands a good place to study for a master's degree? In short, I would say yes, it is a good place. I also got my master's degree in the Netherlands. I went to the University of Amsterdam to get my LLM. And I had a good time. I mean, not just a good time, but like I had a good experience. Certainly the education it's different. It was a really different way of studying that I experienced in Europe versus Canada or the United States, where I did the rest of my schooling. But it was a good experience, and I, enjoyed getting my master's degree there. Depending, I guess, on what you want to study, right? So if you want to study things like water engineering or making sure, great. I don't think there's a better place in the world to study that. There's also Leiden University, which is really world-renowned and known for being an excellent, excellent school. So yes, the schools here are really, really good. I also would encourage you to look, if you're coming from a place like the United States where school fees are insane, you might want to consider the Netherlands or even other European countries. Have a look and see what they're charging, because recently I was in contact with someone who was telling me that she's studying to be a teacher, and for her the program in the States is something like $20,000 a year, and in the Netherlands it is $9,000. So she came here and saved $11,000 just by studying a program here. So it might be more cost effective for you depending on where you're coming from. Maybe if you're coming from a different European country and maybe you have completely free education, that is not the case in the Netherlands. So maybe it's better for you to stay in a place, I'm thinking Denmark. So I think in Denmark, everybody can go to school for free. And here in the Netherlands, that's not the case. You will pay something for school, but it is definitely a good place to get an education, well-recognized institutions, and yeah, a good overall education. But again, that's really a specific question that you need to do that research yourself and compare programs and prices and everything else and make the best decision for yourself. Next question that I get often asked is it difficult to find a job as an immigrant? Now, this is a really broad question because I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know if you're already here. I don't know if you have a legal work permit or not. So I'm just gonna, for the sake of this question, I'm going to presume that the person who asked this is already living in the Netherlands and is just maybe an immigrant from either another EU country, or you're the spouse of somebody who is here already. So I'm going to presume that you're asking me as somebody who is in the Netherlands and doesn't speak Dutch, is it difficult to find a job? And the short answer is yes. Yes, it can be difficult to find a job. Not impossible. Look, I've been here and I've had 3 or 4 different jobs in the Netherlands in English, well paid, fine, happy, good jobs, great. But that doesn't mean that it was easy to get them. It also doesn't mean that I didn't stay in a job that I didn't like for a longer period of time than I would have liked while I was waiting to find something else. Again, I encourage you to check out the videos I referred to earlier about finding a job in the Netherlands. And if you're an immigrant, and it's not a Netherlands specific issue, if you're an immigrant in any country, you have to be prepared to accept a job that might not be where your experience is from your own country. Just taking my own mom as an example, so she was a journalist in Serbia before we moved to Canada when I was 5 years old. Once we moved to Canada, my mom worked as a bank teller, she worked as a cleaner in a bakery, she worked as a waitress in a first-class lounge for Air Canada. So my mom never actually ended up going back to journalism, which is what she studied. So she was able to find jobs, just like I'm saying here in the Netherlands, you will be able to find jobs, but don't necessarily expect that they're going to be exactly what you were doing before, or that they're going to be paid the way that you were paid before. But yeah, there are definitely jobs here. It's a good economy right now. I think there's a lot of jobs in agriculture, so you have those kind of jobs available, shop assistants, things like that. But just don't expect that necessarily if you don't speak the language and if you don't have the credentials, the Dutch credentials for what you were doing before, you can't just expect to suddenly be in the same position. So that's some food for thought. Next up, do I have any tips for applying for kind of international civil service roles in the Netherlands or jobs in the international organization field? You guys might know that that's what I was doing when I first moved here. I came to work at the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. I was on a legal team. This is what I was doing. And so I'm going to answer this question thinking that you're going to apply kind of for one of the big agencies here, and that's where I'm going to go with this. So my number one tip, and the only tip I'm really going to talk about here, is the actual application process. And it took me a long time to learn this, and here you go. When you apply to a job, for example, at the International Criminal Court or the International Court of Justice or there's no more ICTY, but if you apply for one of these big kind of UN type jobs anywhere in the world, not just the Netherlands, you should know that there are literally thousands of other people applying for the same role. And not all of these people are qualified. They're going to read the job description and they're going to be like, cool, let's apply. I want to do that. Given the environment of having thousands of jobs or applicants for one job or two jobs, these companies or these agencies have a system in place where the very first check of your CV is not done by a human being. It's done by some kind of AI program, by some kind of computer thing. So here's the advice. When you read the job kind of description, you need to mention those same words in your application. So, for example, if they say, you are required to have experience writing with a blue pen. Let's just say that that's in the job description. I think most people, when you apply, you're going to say, I have experience working with pens and pencils of all kind, thinking that you're answering that question, but you're actually not. That's not going to get caught through the system. They're not going to read it. So you need to exactly repeat back what it says. So you're going to have to say in your CV or in your cover letter, I have experience working with blue pens. It makes for a very, very dry application, a very boring application. It's going to go against everything that Tirosh says in our Expert and Expat video, but working in the international organizations is not like working in regular jobs. So you need to try to hit as many of the keywords in the job description as possible. Repeat those word for word back in your application. Then the computer system, when they scan it, they're going to be like, oh yeah, we were looking for 99 things and this person has had 98 of them. Boom. Now you're going to get your CV through to a human being in HR who's then actually going to read it. So that is my number one tip for applying for jobs. If you want to get a call back, make your CV cover letter sound identical to the job description when it's true. Okay, I'm not advising you to lie, but just don't try to be creative and interesting in that moment. And like a bonus tip, those interviews are hard. They are hard. They're like oral exams, especially if it's like a legal position, in my experience. So it's gonna be like, can you tell us what you think about Rule 92 bis? And you're gonna be like, oh, I thought I was gonna tell you about like how I do conflict resolution. Like, no, they're very, very difficult questions. So you do need to prepare for them as if they're oral exams. Next up, is the Netherlands a safe country? Short answer, yes. Yes. I did not really research the crime statistics, but I will link some below. But I have to say that as a woman, I have never felt more safe in any other country. I really feel safe walking around at night. I feel safe being by myself. I feel safe here. I think that there is like a statistic, and I hope it's still true. You can check in my description box below. I'll make sure that that's updated. But that the highest rate of crime that occurs in the Netherlands is bicycle theft. So take that as you will. It is definitely a safe country, so I hope that, yeah. I mean, but just like any other country, things do happen here. There is crime here. There is, you know, dangerous things that happen here, but it's not any less safe, or, well, I think it is safer than a lot of other countries, but it's not like utopia, okay? Don't think that I say that crime never happens or that things never happen here, because they certainly do. You know, it happens here just like anywhere else. But I do think overall it is a very safe country to live in, and I'm really happy to live here. Next up, is it easy to find a job without speaking Dutch? I've already touched on this already in this video. I'm also going to refer you again to my other videos. It is not easy, but it is also not impossible. So there you go. The next question that I have is, can I find accommodation to live in for less than €1,000? And the answer is yes. I mean, I guess that's like a really big question. Are you gonna find a humongous house with a big garden and something in Amsterdam for €1,000? No way. Are you gonna find it in one of the non-Randstad cities? Like, are you gonna find it maybe in a village or somewhere? Then maybe, yeah, you know? So again, depending on what you're looking for, on what your needs are, hire an agent. They will help you find a place and, you know, the best value for your money and whatever it is that you're looking for. So yes, you can live here for less than €1,000 a month, but I'm not sure what you're looking for or what you need or where you're looking, but yeah, you can. The last question that we're going to tackle in today's video is, can my children integrate easily? So this is coming from a parent who has one or more small young children, and they want to know whether they're going to be able to integrate easily. Now, again, this depends on your specific situation. It depends on your children as well. But overall and overwhelmingly, in the mom groups that I'm in and the things that I see and that I read, most parents are saying my child within a year was able to learn Dutch and integrate. They're really happy and free. They like the system of like being able to ride their bikes everywhere. So yes, you know, in theory, your children will adjust. Kids are resilient and they're able to adjust. I don't have this experience because my children were born here. So I did not go through the integration process. I recommend that you check out some of the parenting groups on Facebook that exist. So you can search, I don't know, parents in Rotterdam or whatever it is that you're going to look for, and find wherever it is that you're moving an expat parents or just a parents group, and you can ask your questions and get advice from real parents who have gone through that same situation. So I do definitely think that kids are able to adjust, they're resilient, and yeah, I think they'll be able to adjust okay, but it's not going to be easy. I do also want to refer you to one of my videos that I made. I think it's called 10 Things I Wish Dutch People Knew About Expats. And here I talk a little bit about some of the struggles that you're going to face as an expat. And I do touch a little bit on the issue of children. So please check that video. It's linked here. I'll also link it below. And I hope that that is also helpful. You guys, that is it for this video. I hope that my advice was helpful. I'm sorry that I cannot, do more for you guys. I would like to, but it's just not possible. If you are Dutch and you've watched this video and you have more advice that you would like to offer, fill up that comments section below. You guys are incredible about helping other people and sharing your experience. I really love this community. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for coming over. I really appreciate any time that you spent with me today. Please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Click the subscribe button if you would like to, and I will see you in the next one.